Hey guys, it's Tartan coming at you with another game of Minecraft. Really, it's just wheat. Anyway, we're gonna go get some more wheat seeds. Clearly, we don't have quite enough yet. And then we're gonna, go plant some. A little bit more. One can never have enough. I've tried. But more is always better. Hey Luke. Indeed, enough is never enough. I was looking at the various Three Kingdoms starts, and I see that I unlocked Dongzhuo, I guess, from beating the game or whatever. Which, I love that. I love that in older titles, where you unlock things by doing in-game stuff. But, looks like that could be very interesting. 'Cause I was thinking, well, what if I just, immediately make Lubu the heir, and then just say, I don't care what else happens. Just be like, you know what? We'll treat him like an accidental figure in the story and just set it up so, wow, I can't believe that would occur. After all, he can't betray my faction if he's the leader of the faction that I'm playing. Anyway, that was my idea. Need to get a DLC, use his own mechanic. Ah, yes, that would be smarter. Although my way is smart too. I maintain that it was a good idea, even if it wouldn't work well. I was like, you let me start with whom? Alright, inventory full of seeds. Time to go. And plant them. Let's go to the other side of the new field this time. We were going a lot over there, but why not here at the foot of the mountain that will one day be the source of the Temple of Wheat? Oh. So he gets, Lord Defeat traits, essentially. That is wonderful. And it sounds like they're pretty supercharged. Because, that's my idea of a great time anyway, right? I love a horde campaign. I love a campaign where you don't care too much what happens. Doesn't sound exactly like one, but if all I want to do is fight a bunch of interesting people, I bet I could make it happen. Yeah, I'll just have to keep an eye for the DLC to go on sale again, and with that much of a lure to it, we'll probably do someone else then. But the Nonmen seem so cool too. I mean, did you see what units they had? They're so cool. And that'll be like a real different starting position and like different priorities and stuff, and like a whole different, you know, set of troops to use, so that could be cool too. And it'll give me more familiarity with them when I inevitably play WoW and then have to deal with them the whole game. Oh yeah, a lot of stuff I don't have to manage. Good, good. Started as Jurong, put out from the corner with some of the fun units like tigers. Yeah, I saw one of them started with elephants, and I'm like, there better be a reason for me not to choose this guy who starts with elephants. I mean, I feel like I don't have to explain myself here. Elephants are objectively very awesome. And who among us does not remember playing Age of Empires 2? And playing as the Persians, bringing your magnificent war elephants to bear. Oh, they cost 4 supply and they were worth every penny. I think it was 4. It's been a while since I played. I remember, but very indistinctly, their qualities. They were definitely elephants, though. A little bit more clearing, and then back to more planting. They get married from events within a relatively shorter, so I can say they're awesome. I love that. A regular Vlad and Isabella. Just a very romantic campaign. Speaking of, have you seen how the barrier trait is busted in Warhammer at the moment? The whichever one that's supposed to give you 250 barrier to the hero that has it, it gives it to the entire army. Yeah. You might be like, does it stack? Yeah, I think so. I think it does. I haven't done it yet. It sounds like it would be very boring, but also very amazing. Yeah, yeah. Whichever the one is that gives barrier now, it's definitely just supposed to be 0, but it's 250 for every unit in the whole army. So obviously with Vlad and Isabella being able to get vampires very early, yeah, yeah, and they already regenerate HP, which, you know, theoretically there could be a healing cap, but barriers regenerate too, and yeah, pretty sick. You can have like some heroes that fly around, you know, for reasons, and then some heroes that only walk for other reasons. And all of them could have a whole lot of barrier. You could have some bats up in the sky with, you know, a couple thousand points of barrier. Anyway. Sort of thing that I almost want to enjoy while it's live, but it doesn't seem like it'd be that interesting, merely very funny. Strong's probably gets the strongest of the game. Nice. But it's locked down until he dies. Ah. Alas. Well, maybe he will... Maybe he'll come in and fight alongside us. We'll be able to take advantage of his strength. Oh, fun. They're not locked. That does sound like a very interesting campaign. Yeah, I can't... That'd be super funny. I like, you know, I get the game because I'm interested in some of the characters, a lot of the characters, and the time setting and stuff, and then I'm like, you know what we'll play the Nonman tribes, who I know basically nothing about. Not like I'm like super knowledgeable for other stuff in the setting, but I know like some, but it'd be funny, you know. Like if you got Warhammer because you wanted to play, you know, elves, and then you discovered how good dwarves were. Which I can't imagine anybody, I don't know, some people like elves better. Like I'm not like as anti-elf as some people are. But dwarves are objectively much cooler. Because, you know... They're mostly fictional. Okay. I'm like, I just don't like... Because again, I'm not like super knowledgeable, but I had like a class once. God, you know, 17 years ago. I'm like, I don't really remember any of these figures at all, but... They're good. Make him look cooler. You know, because he needed to look cooler. His very elegant fan wasn't enough. Let's It's debatable if he was a member of the tribes or just a rebellion on administrator. Wow. No, that was such a good first campaign. It had all of like the character moments that you could look for. It had a bunch of, you know, triumphant funny things too. Like when it didn't matter at all, and Juglian got those guys to follow him through the mountain pass and then just like turn the screws back on him, you know, like how fun. If I was writing the story, that's the way I would have written it. Jungjian is similarly fictional, except she's made of the total escape. Okay. I was like, sometimes when I see a character in a thing like that, I'm like, how did I not remember this from playing the Dynasty Warriors game? Like, if there was this awesome bandit queen, that's sort of my jam. Like, I would have loved that. How did I forget? But that makes more sense then. Like, let alone being real, I would have played her in the video game. It's, you know, the Total War guys do a super good job, in my opinion, when they make original characters. I mean, maybe not every time, but really often. I guess I only have some experience mainly with, like, the Warhammer ones, but I mean, like, Silastra is both an awesome character, like, incredibly funny, and just, like, a well done thing as a story thing. I was surprised back in the day whenever I learned that, you know, they had made her up entirely, because it totally seemed like entirely in line with the setting. Voodoo characters is fun. Indeed. Yeah, Silastra, a siren after your own heart, huh? Hey, she used to be French. Now she lives under the sea. Most of the time. You say me one else when you actually just like play what else had problem. Yeah. You know, I have from time to time played elves in a video game. I don't like to brag about it none. No, because in World of Warcraft, if you're playing a druid on the Alliance, back in the day, I'm sure there's more options now, but you used to have to be a night elf. That was the only choice to play a druid. And not to belabor this too much, but as a druid, you get to turn into a bear. So I played an elf, you know. But I had a good time with some elf campaigns in Warhammer 2. If I've played them in 3, it hasn't been, like, not a lot of them. When I say some good times in 2, I mean principally playing Emmerich and just, like, flying dragons into my enemies and laughing the whole time. Although I probably started and failed several of the Thanar campaigns, too. Ooh, and Eltharion. His campaign was wonderful. And his special units were so broken strong. A guy like me, I really appreciate that. The whole, Against Grom campaign. Because I played that first, and then I played as Grom, and then I think I played, like, 5 Grom campaigns back to back. Man, what a fun campaign that was. And, like, just being able to throw the guys in your little Batman jail. Because, again, what's the most annoying thing in Warhammer? Beating somebody like Vlad or Tamarkon and having them come immediately back. Finally beating up Grimgor or Grom and having them immediately back. But, you know, when they don't get to do that, actually feels good to beat an enemy legendary lord. And the bonuses you got were sometimes very good indeed. It was pretty cool. Cool mechanic. But I mean, the coolest part of, like, the high elves is very clearly not the elves at all. Like, okay, you've got elves, but, like, what about the chariots pulled by massive white lions? That's very cool. They've also got dragons. That's very cool. Phoenixes, pretty cool. Not as cool as dragons, but that's hardly a fair thing to have to be cooler than. Hello, Mind Showtime. But yeah, Luke, so Girl Boss 1, Girl Boss 2, or another Han campaign. We'll probably do Girl Boss 1, maybe Girl Boss 2. And I'll make sure to mark the old DLC on my wish list, so whenever they do another sale, I'll likely pick up all of it. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of juice to squeeze out of Total War 3 Kingdoms for me. That was a real fun first dive in. 'Cause there's probably like a whole bunch I can play on normal before I even get in the slightest bit bored with it. And then you can turn up the difficulty some. And then there's like the other mode, which I could theoretically play, where I don't do hero stuff and just like act like a real general. I mean, I know it sounds boring, but maybe it'd be fun. Yeah. I'm sort of more inclined to Nonman just so we can play with the new roster and stuff. That probably will be what we do, but... New units, and you can start at 200 instead of... Because it's like, what, like 190, right? Emerald Betrayed, because that's like 194. That's sort of like after all the stuff sort of was like precipitating out, right? And that'll be the one with the Lubu. Alright, yeah, we'll have to mark that. You know, we were just doing the Savannah, but now I mean, why not do this too? There's literally no reason why we wouldn't do this. You can't stop me from doing it. Don't even try to stop me. The song. Maybe gives you 184 and Yellow Turban. Yeah, because I saw we already have like 3 Yellow Turban access, and the one guy's brilliant, but. Because Yellow Turbans could be really cool too. I always lamented that, you know, back in the day, it seemed like, you know, like, why are the games so angry at the Yellow Turbans? You know, like why don't we get to know their stories? But I mean, obviously, a bunch of Taoist rebels that don't want to work for any of the warlords aren't gonna figure too prominently in the aftermath normally, but it could still be nice to take over China, you know, for the Tao. When a warlord heard the Tao, he laughed. If he did not laugh, it would not be the Tao, and all that, you know. I paraphrase. If we want to go back to make spear armies, that's when we play Sherman's. Sweet. Replenishment bonus does sound very good. And, you know, it's probably the best thing. I certainly know every time I got like more replenishment in the campaign, I immediately felt its good effects. Like that 10% tech, what a huge boon that was to us pushing that war in. It went from sometimes we have to wait to we literally never have to wait. But I guess we got 5% for being Emperor as well, so you know, the last little chunk of the game, we had 15% more, so essentially double replenishment from what we had played the rest of the whole campaign with. Really lets you ratchet up the pressure. Pretty easy to get to 50%. Yeah, that's... Because, of course, when you have super high replenishment, then you can act very callously. You know. Like, oh, why don't I just charge? It's like, what we want to do is get Vanguard for all the peasants, so we don't have to run very far before the spears engage with the enemy. But no, yeah, I think we'll definitely play the Nunman. Because now I'm thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, we'll get like some tigers. We'll have tigers on the flanks, and then we'll like send them out of the forest, and then like the elephant will just like charge through the middle. It's gonna be good stuff. Oh, it's gonna be good stuff. Yes, girl boss 1, Lady Jurong. Oh, it's gonna be a good old time. Goddess of Fire. You know, they don't give that name to just anybody. And this is too fun. Like, did I make this? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. No, it just happens to be... It just happens to be a way that you can climb up, you know, that is perfectly spaced to put some nice wheat onto. You might think it's not, by that rationale, every single block of dirt a nice space to put wheat onto. Yes, now you're learning. You know, there's a lot that other people can teach you, and there's only a little bit that I can teach you, and that's one of the things. Every day is an opportunity to plant a little more wheat. And if I had started doing this a long time ago, I might have the most wheat in the world. That's not what this is about. You know, it's not about comparing your accomplishments and your wheat to other people. To that end lies madness, you know. Hey Ashes, how are you? We're just waxing rhapsodic about our wheat field here. But unrelated, so my you may recall like I'm a weirdo, so like I don't use a smartphone, but like my MP3 player broke a couple weeks ago, or more precisely, the button on the side of it that turns it on broke. It still works, but so I've been listening to the radio, uh, going to work and driving home, and it's pretty awesome because I don't normally listen to the radio, but there's like a public radio station that like anybody can rent an hour on or whatever, and some of the stuff they play on there is just so good. Oh man, there's this really cool like jazz thing that they do every now and then. And every now and it'll be like 9 o'clock at night, and there's like this awesome hardcore punk that's playing. And every now and then it'll be like something new. There's this sort of, I don't know what I would call them, post-punk maybe. But they're like currently they're from Fayetteville, which is a town in my state where like the premier university is of the state. But they're called the Flims, which is a very punk name. But they had this song called Uncomfortable that that they just like these people put it on the radio, and I'm like driving in my car listening to it, and I'm like, man, this is really good. I love this. And then I look it up when I get home, and it's like, okay, yeah, this video's got like 80 views. So, but I guess like they played some shows, they did a record, but it's not every day that you listen to the public radio and you find a really cool song by a band that sounds awesome. But it's happened to me so many times recently. There's these dudes that do a show, and they're obsessed with like not that there's anything wrong with these obsessions, but like these sort of niche like Japanese or European jazz subgenres from like 30 or 20 years ago, but never 50, and just fascinating stuff. You say we get philosophical about the wheat field. You get the indescribable urge to make bad wheat puns. You chose to spare. Well, thank you. Yes, we feel your magnanimity. All these guys just start somewhere easier to speak on the radio. Yeah. And I used to go like to shows like all the time whenever I was a teenager. And that would be like the premier way that I saw these bands. And of course, like when bands are starting out, especially local. I mean, like, not to say where I live, but I don't live like super close to Fayetteville, which is where they play at. But it wouldn't be like an incomprehensible inconvenience to go and see them, because Arkansas is not that big of a place, right? But I would there's this joint in Little Rock called Vino's that's been like a legendary spot for, since I was a teenager, so a long time, right? I started going there like 25 years ago. But they sell pizza, and they brew their own beer and root beer and stuff. I don't drink anymore, but they do good work. And but they have like this room in the back where they have like shows, and sometimes really amazing ones. And me and my friends, we would regularly just go up there and look at the show flyers on the walls, and if something sounded cool or we hadn't heard of them or we weren't doing anything Wednesday and it said it was $6, we would just go. But I don't really do that anymore. And I spend so much time just doing what I've already done, listening to what I've already listened to. Not that there's anything wrong with the tranquility of repetition. I do enjoy it. Some of these trees may die, but that is a price I'm willing to pay. Look, we don't have to get all the leaves down, but if we can't plant more wheat, then what's the point of these trees? Like, literally what? That's what I ask you. You don't have to answer. Just think about it. Think about it. Another musical aside. If you aren't familiar with Flight of the Conchords, they're this musical comedy band. They once had an HBO show, but I listened to them before they had it even. But they have a hilarious song called Think About It, Think About It, where they talk about, the social issues of the day. You know, I think it's very funny. More old man references. Yes, Flight of the Conchords, who had a show on HBO, I think, in the year 2008 or something. But I listened to him earlier than that, because I'm very old. But I love musical comedy stuff. I was a big fan of theirs. I still am a big fan of theirs. I didn't watch the show, because I don't really watch TV, but I have listened to the soundtrack a lot. But yeah, look at that. Look at the wheat, and with time, it'll all grow, and that's nice. It'll have a little like legally distinct from Pac-Man shape to it, and that'll be fun. It'll be like, actually, I love this. Yeah, this is gonna be great. It's because it's gonna look like the wheat is like trying to chomp down on the water, like angry that the water is not dirt. The wheat turns its ravenous attention. Because here, we have another situation where the water is insufficient to stem the tide of wheat. One day it'll jump over here. It'll break containment. One day we'll build the Temple of Wheat here. Someday. I cleared this land forever ago, like a year ago in real time. Maybe even longer. But that's alright. It's all alright. It's mostly alright. I'm having a good time. That's all. I mean, it's about to be all for the day, though. It is coming on midnight and about to be the weekend, which means it's my work week. But I'll be around. After we make the wicker moon, I'll make the big wicker coat. This is my goat sculpture. I've made it out of slightly flammable material. Swedish. And the wheat over there grows, May Demeter strike me down for saying it, but I think the wheat's even prettier before it gets all, like the brilliance of the green, that's what the wheat is all about, right? Sure, the amber waves of it, that's good, but like right here, when you look out in the distance and you see the beauty of wheat ungrown, because that's when we've been hard at work. That's the expansion of a wheat field. That's the promise of the future. All this wheat that's grown is the past, right? That's ancient history, or at the very least classical history. All the green shoots are the modern history of the field. They're waiting to be a part of it all again. While they're still growing, they still have a story. Not like this wheat up here. This wheat's over, right? This wheat is just beautiful wheat, and we'll never care about it again. This wheat might get planted somewhere. The Gavu goat. You don't have an international keyboard. I too only have an American keyboard. A national keyboard, a Rosewill. I love my keyboard. One day I might buy another one. I'm gonna get the exact same one again. if I had $1 million to spend on a keyboard, I would just get this keyboard again. It's not the most expensive one they sell, I just love it very much, and I think it's very good. If anybody cares, it is the RK-9000 V2 BR. They're not paying me to compliment this keyboard, I'm just a huge fan. I love it very much. It's the best keyboard I've ever had, except no substitutes. Anyway. That's my keyboard shout out for the day. I love my keyboard. Everybody knows that about me. I'm just a regular guy with a regular amount of wheat who loves his keyboard. Let's look at the stats real quick. Tail of the tape. 322,000 used wheat seeds, 84,000 of them mined. The sun sets over the ridge and indeed on this playthrough. But I'll be up in some hours and we will be playing some games, almost certainly starting Girl Boss #1's campaign in Total War 3 Kingdoms. So good night, Luke. Good night, Ashes. And Luke, maybe I'll see you there in the morning, and if not, hopefully in another streamer video. And yep, that's all I've got for you right now. Good night, everybody.